Merhaba sevgili izleyicilerimiz. Dijital Çağda Kadın Liderler konulu panelimize hoş geldiniz. Paneli yönetmek üzere May Prodüksiyon kurucu ortağı ve yönetim kurulunda Kadın Derneği Yönetim Kurulu üyesi Sayın Özge Bulut Maraşlı'yı davet ediyorum.
Merhaba Bengü
Merhaba,
Hanım.
hoş geldiniz.
Hoş bulduk. Bundan sonra İngilizceye döneceğiz diye tahmin ediyorum.
Evet. Ben seyircilerimiz için ufak bir hatırlatma yapacağım.
Tabii.
Dil için ekranda ikon var, bayrak ikonları. Onları tıklayarak dili değiştirebiliyorlar. Bunu da hatırlatmış olalım. Çok teşekkürler. Ben sözü size bırakıyorum. Konuklarınızı davet edebilirsiniz.
Çok teşekkür ederim. Sağ olun.
Kolay gelsin.
Ben konuklarımı tek tek davet ediyorum. So, good morning and guten Morgen, distinguished guests. Welcome to Connection Days. We are together with our special event of Together for Women. I'm Özge Bulut Maraşlı. I have been actively working more than 28 years as executive officer and shareholder in different industries, including FMCG, media, retail, energy, and at multidisciplinary functions have been serving as the chairwoman, independent board member, and consultant. I'm proud of being a philanthropist and serving at the NGOs basically. My mission is to empower women, especially at the C-level management and also board membership. I joined the Women on Board training program for 2 years, and now I'm acting as the board member of that association. So today our aim is to create awareness on women's employment in business life by hosting speakers from different industries. It is my immense pleasure to moderate this session, and I wish you a fruitful session to all. We all know that digitization and technological developments, along with changing political and demographic landscape, have shaped the world into a new age of disruption. From a business perspective, we have seen the rise of information and communications technology companies. We deal with technology-driven unicorns that has raised the bar on the company value to previously unseen heights and observe many old market leaders struggling to cope with the speed of innovation. And time is the new cost factor, allowing increasingly less latitude to make true, well-founded strategic decisions on like the innovations or go-to-market period. So in other words, the business world is changing at an unprecedented pace. On the other hand, in our digital, technological, and VUCA-driven world, new capabilities are required in order to survive. Find the right know-how and qualified employees for the inevitable transformation is a challenge. Companies cannot afford to ignore the power of female workforce. There is a strong economic imperative for including women in every part of business, and the studies show that women are well prepared for the challenge. Together with 4 successful global women leaders, we are going to deep dive to the women leadership in digital era. If you don't mind, I would like to invite 4 of them together and then start to introduce each of them one by one. So, Mrs. Tuesday Porter and
good morning.
Good morning, and also Özlem Yanmaz.
Good morning, günaydın, guten Morgen.
And Vera Schneevoigt.
Good morning.
Guten Morgen. I think we're missing one of our panelists right now, but I know that she will be joining us as soon as possible. So I would like to welcome first Ms. Tuesday Porter, and while before asking my question, I would like to introduce you, Tuesday. She has more than 25 years experience working for technical-oriented service companies. During her first 10 years in legal department of 2 North Group, and Tuesday was in charge of the group's trademark policy, and she introduced a management system to monitor the corporate law issues of all national and international subsidiaries. In 2009, Tuesday was posted to Berlin, where she proceeded to build up the group representative office and establish a political network. From 2011 to 2015, she also took over and restructured the Brussels office. She is one of the founder members of 2 North. Group's corporate network, the network, I think this is the founder member of 2 North Group, 2 North Group's corporate network, the network. Since 2018, she's also a member of the supervisory board of 2 North AG. Tuesday holds a degree in business law and commercial economics, as well as an MBA from the University of Applied Sciences in Essen. So Tuesday, once again, welcome.
Thank you.
Let me ask my question first. You work for a technical inspection and certification company. 2 is a very important company all around the world, and especially in Turkey. And that sounds like a rather male-dominated environment. Is it really? And if so, how difficult was it to make a career within 2 North and executing the leadership?
Well, thank you very much, Özge, first of all, for this kind introduction, and greetings to Istanbul, which is really one of my favorite cities, and I would really be happy if I could join you there today, and I'm sure we'll meet up one day. And yes, I think it's perfectly fine to say that TÜV is quite a male-dominated place to work. I've been there for over 20 years now, and of course lots of things have changed. We have quite a lot of female leaders within our company, female managers, in all sorts of different areas, because we work in so many different businesses, and we have many engineers, so of course we have lots of male colleagues, but also female colleagues as well. And I would say more than 20 years ago, they're definitely noticeable, and also on our management levels, even if we're still striving to have more women in these roles. And how difficult was it to make a career? Well, I suppose it was nothing that was planned. It sort of happened, and there were definitely hurdles within the past, but I think the more female women you have at the different management levels, the more easier it becomes.
Okay. So thank you so much, Tuesday. What I heard from you is that the knowledge and also your performance are the key, but on the other hand, you need to have more female managers to, justify your position.
Absolutely, because it's quite clear that different people think differently, act differently, and need to be heard differently. And so if you have the same type of person throughout the whole company, you'll just be missing out on so much.
Okay. So thank you, Tuesday. Now I would like to welcome Özlem Yanmaz. And before asking my question, Özlem, I would like to introduce you briefly. Özlem Yanmaz is Deloitte Digital Turkey partner, having 22 years of consulting experience, 15 years with Deloitte. She's the country leader of customer and marketing service portfolio focused on digital strategy, applied design, customer experience, sales and service transformation, digital marketing, commerce, digital assets, and platform design and development. She shaped and led a large scale of digital transformation and technology enabled transformation programs from strategy to enablement across industries. She led transformation programs in 10 different countries. She is the founder member of Women in Technology on behalf of Deloitte. So Özlem, again, welcome. And what I have seen from your career, you work for the digital transformation of the companies. And do you have any special experience on increasing the women employees in those companies or vice versa? I also would like to know, is there any women leadership at the CTO level who are responsible from the digitalization? It is not only related with Turkey and also the other countries that you worked.
Dear Özge Hanım, thank you very much for the introduction and the moderation. And dear Connection Days team, thank you very much for this inspiring conference and for having me here. I'm very much excited to be here with you today. If you wish, let's start with the technology space leadership. If you're talking about CTOs, CDOs, CIOs, and all the technology women leaders. When we look at the technology leadership, what we're observing is a leaky pipeline, actually, which is starting from the studying phase, where comparatively few women are able to get tech-related degrees, and continuing to C-suites. And in all those stages, research shows that hiring biases, both conscious and unconscious biases, may prevent these newly degreed women technologists, female technologists, from being hired in IT functions. And those that do get hired in IT may feel isolated or sidelined by the working environments that are not that much flexible for women to survive, the male type of networking conditions, and of course pay disparities. And many women, I know this from my own experience as well, from the environments I've been, don't see a technology career as a compatible thing with starting or growing a family. And when we ask to female technologists, the top two challenges they say they're facing are, just like Ms. Tuesday expressed very beautifully, the lack of women mentors and women role models. And actually, on the other hand, interestingly, the C-suite seems to be much more welcoming to women leadership than any other functions. The percentage of women CIOs are much higher than the percentage of women CFOs and CEOs globally. And when we come to creating a more gender diverse and inclusive tech organizations, the companies can do, firstly, of course, eliminate gender biases from the recruitment processes through lots of good examples, such as blind resume reviews. And they can, of course, eliminate wage gaps. They can reconsider and update HR policies and procedures that exclude women or alienate women from tech space, especially. And of course, they can encourage in an increasing way different ways of thinking, different ways of seeing, different ways of doing things. And when we look at the technology itself to support all these diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, I think technology can play a critical role to tech-enabled solutions. Those tech-enabled solutions may re-engineer the way data is collected, analyzed, and reported, and through artificial intelligence, machine learning, and advanced analytics, they can easily put recommendations, they can easily generate granular insights in terms of talent acquisition, compensation, employee experience, well-being, and retention. Of course, having said that, it's always important to be aware of the processing, let's say, processes of sensitive data, to be aware of legal and privacy requirements about whether or how to leverage this historical data for those purposes. And last but not least, of course, even the better technologies, even the best technologies and tools are just means. They will be relying on humans to take proper actions on all of those. Thank you.
Thank you, Özlem. It is a very satisfactory answer for all of us to understand the perspective of the companies to the CTOs and the woman perspective to those positions at all. And what I heard from you is that there's a barrier in the mindset of the women included into the technology team and the digital teams at all. But on the other hand, by our nature, we are much more, much more appropriate candidate for working in that area, since it is directly related with the human. So thank you so much. And here I would like to introduce you, Vera. Vera, I couldn't pronounce your last name properly. If you can help me, I really appreciate for that. And after all, I would like to introduce yourself to our guest.
Thank you very much. No, it's pronounced Schneevogt.
Schneevogt. Okay, thank you, Vera. Vera, welcome. Vera Schneevogt is the Chief Digital Officer from Bosch Building Technologies. She's the Senior Vice President, Product Supply Operations, and in charge of production and logistics for hardware products outside of Japan at Fujitsu. She's also head of the only research, development, and production institution of an IT manufacturer in Europe called Campus Augsburg. And the campus is known for its leadership role in the field of smart factory, which does not only develop Industry 4.0 solutions, but also serves as a role model for the digital transformation of production and logistics. She is also a consultant to state and federal politicians in matter of digitization and its impact on work and employment, and is a great supporter of women, especially in digital professions. Before joining Fuji, she held various leadership positions at Siemens and its subsidiaries, and she is married and lives in Upper Bavaria. Together with her husband, she has adopted the sponsorship of 2 Syrian brothers who fled to Germany without their parents. I really would like to underline this specifically, Vera. It is very nice to meet you, because this is something, digital. I really would like to meet all of you in person, but this is the meet you, and welcome again. Let me ask your question, if you don't mind. So my question is that, Vera, you have a borderless career path based on technology and the digital era. You are a very well-known leader in the industry, not only for the companies, but also for the state and federal politicians. My question is that, can we pronounce your career is the trump of knowledge in technology? Or in other words, does your expertise bring you that leadership? Is it as what we witnessed from your successful background? Were there any barriers that we haven't?
Thank you very much, Özge, for introduction and for inviting me here. It's really an honor, and I would, as Tuesday mentioned, very happy to be in Istanbul to meet you all personally. My background is not technology. I'm actually coming from economics, and I would say what is the most valuable asset I've had, or I still have, is curiosity, and just wanted to be in the middle of technology, because when I started my career, there was nobody around my family, friends or so, who ever gave me an impression what an engineer could do, what digital was not even spelled, I would say, in these days. But alongside, I think this is not only technology. Technology is the enabler, and technology maybe is, as I think Özlem said earlier, the miracle of a lot of male people to make it very special, make it very complicated, and make it very deep knowledgeable. While this is true, in some areas you need a degree of science, you need a good foundation, but digital transformation is not only technology, it's much more culture, it's much more leadership, it's much more giving entrepreneurial experience alongside the whole value chain. And as you said, when I worked for Fujitsu before, I got deep insight in the value chain for production, for example, or supply chain. Now I'm working for Bosch Building Technologies, and I got a much more insight in services and how you create software as a service, or how you are going to address customer needs. And I think this is something where clearly, from my experience, female make a big difference. At first, I think when they are very rare in a male environment, then you just can use and I use my role and I use my network for introducing these kind of topics. And secondly, I think when we are more, especially, and I totally hook in everything what you said, Özlem, regarding, being the only one I'm the only female CDO at the moment at Bosch. So I don't care, it doesn't matter anything to me. Maybe it's the good way that I'm getting an older woman, so I got listened to because of my experience. But I don't make it really a different thing. What I have to do, and this I feel as an obligation out of my career, is to empower and support and lift other women, to make them not afraid about there is nothing which you not can do. You have to do it different. If you don't get this kind of education in this area, it takes you a longer time, a harder work to do, but it's everything is possible. It's just your mind who just limits you to do the next thing.
Okay, thank you so much. What I catch from your answer is the meaning of digital transformation, which is actually the cultural change. It is very important, and the thing is that you have a background from the economy, so it is quite interesting to work on the technology side. So it shows that those kind of things are directly related with your curiosity and networking and support and empowering the related persons, especially the women. So thank you so much, Vera. I think we lost İlkay here. I'm not sure whether, yes, she's back again. Okay, so I would like to introduce you İlkay now. İlkay Demirdağ is one of my sister from a sisterhood organization, which is Women on Board Association. And she also got that training and one of the mentees of that program. So İlkay, welcome again here.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be part of this panel, and I'm very sorry I have been encountering a lot of technical problems. So apologize for dropping on and off. But I'm very happy to meet you all and see you, Özge, in this panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, İlkay. Before asking my question, I would like to introduce you briefly to our guests. İlkay Demirdağ is a senior executive with 20 plus years of experience gained at large multinational firms and conglomerates in the UK, Turkey, and Bahrain. Her C-level experience covers a broad range of areas, including corporate finance, M&A, fundraising, investor relations, and ESG with measurable performance in leading conglomerates, private equity firms, and multinational corporations. İlkay leads corporations with her diversified and international experience and has a proven track record of creating and maximizing value for shareholders, whilst capitalizing on cross-functional team leadership. She has performed on both buy-side and sell-side, as well as acting as a consultant and banker in transactions. So she is the her experience. Her expertise is on the debt transactions, equity transactions, strategic planning, investor relations, corporate governance, and sustainability. İlkay joined Enerjisa Enerji, which is the joint venture company of Sabancı Holding and E.ON in 2018, prior to the IPO of the company, as head of investor relations, and set up the investor relations department. And she has a very well track record on her education, and she has completed private equity and venture capital executive program in Harvard Business School, advanced corporate and finance executive program at LBS, and economics and management at the University College of London. And she had her BSc in architecture at the Istanbul Technical University. As I mentioned before, she is one of the mentees of the Women on Board program. And on the other hand, in addition to her professional career, she is a philanthropist and social entrepreneur for women empowerment, and she is founder of Equality Movement, which aims to empower women at the workplace and support gender diversity in Turkey. İlkay, I have a lot of questions for each of you. You are all very well known role models in not only your countries, but also the field of activities all around the world. And here, my question is directly on the investor relations side, and of course your expertise on the sustainability, which is very important for the future of the world. Mm-hmm. And here the question, what is the role of women in creating a sustainable future? How will digitization impact the equity markets and women working in your field of activity?
Thank you for the question, and thank you for the kind introduction as well. As you mentioned, I'm actually involved in investor relations, so I'm in contact with equity investors all around the world, and I kind of have an opportunity to see, the changing trends and how the asset management side is approaching to the world of future. Because I think that's where every company and every executive has to look into. And what we are seeing, especially with the change of pandemic, we're seeing a shift in the mindsets of people and their expectations from a sustainable world and sustainable company. In that respect, what we are seeing is values are becoming more and more important for every person. And a company who is only, demonstrating financial capability and financial strength is not any longer what the investors are looking for or what the other, stakeholders are looking for. What everybody is aiming to get is, at the end of the day, a company, a leader, a environment that cares for people, that cares for environment, that cares for an equal, transparent, well-governed environment. And for that, the role of women is getting more and more important, I can say, because by nature, women actually provides all these, values in terms of, integration into the management. And therefore, it's becoming more important to integrate different views of ideas, different perspectives into management of companies, to diversify risk management and get better and better decisions for the company. And what asset managers are looking for and what the investment world is looking for is changing for sure, because ESG, what we call environmental, social, and governance aspects, are becoming an investment decision process for all of the asset managers now. And for that, in terms of governance, that it requires that companies actually from all levels, starting from junior levels to board memberships, having equal rights for men and women, giving decision-making rights equally, and governing the company equally. And that is really becoming a necessity. And we are seeing that change in the regulations as well. Even in Turkey, Capital Markets Board of Turkey actually requested listed companies in Turkey to comply with sustainable governance principles, which basically asks whether you're actually giving equal rights to men and women. So I think this shift coming from the investment world will definitely define how the companies will approach to the management and to the rights of men and women. And I see that very valuable because especially in countries like Turkey, where companies are really very dependent on external financing, and when this external financing is defining what the new world will look like, which is more inclusive, which is more representing all genders, everything, in terms of giving equal rights to everybody. I think women will be a key actually transformer for the new future. That's how I approach. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you for your answer. Each of you made the common comments in different angles. What I heard from you is the role of women by nature drives the values, and it makes much more easier to integrate into the management and give a better decision, especially on the ESG side. And you also raise a new, raise the equal rights for women and men, and the necessity of that one, especially for the sustainability and future of the world. So İlkay, thank you so much for your comments and your answers. Let me summarize this part in that way. Digitization is the paradigm of our changing world. We all accept that one. However, many companies are struggling to find the right path to transform their business models, products, and or organizations. What we point out is that the women are much more successful on transforming the business models, products, and the organizations. It is very important, and their implementation of new technologies that rely on data and digital process, such as blockchain and AI, is presenting an additional challenge. Let me share one of the results of the research on the global female leaders. Shows that the leaders believe technological disruption is an opportunity rather than a threat. 77% of them from more than 100 countries believe that this technological disruption is an opportunity rather than a threat. It is, meaningful because all of us also pointed out that or underlined that this is, very related with the nature of the woman. And 72% of those global leaders already acknowledge significant transformation progress within their industry. Now, I would like to ask all of you a common question regarding to put your further comments on the, digital age. Can we call the digital age as a female era? I mean, is digital age going to enable women to shape the future? So Tuesday, can we hear your comments about that issue?
Yes, thank you. Very interesting question. I think, well, from my point of view, we're not yet in the digital age. I think we're sort of in the transformation on our way to the digital age. But I think it's very, very important because this is sort of like the experimental time for companies, for technologies, and we'll sort of find out during the next years the actual direction that we're going to be going in. And it's very, very important that women are included now in even more spaces and spheres because, for instance, if you think of algorithms and how they're programmed, then if we don't make sure that women are recognized by the algorithms, we're going to have the same problems or different problems, but in the same way in the future. So I think it's very important at the moment to have female digital leaders that make sure that this is spotlighted, make sure that this kind of thing is solved in a proper, good technological way. Yes, I think that's very important.
Okay, thank you, Tuesday. I absolutely share the same thoughts with you. Thank you. I don't want to make further comments. So, Özlem, what do you think about it?
Firstly, I also totally agree with Tuesday, and I'd like to elaborate this from a couple of different angles, maybe. First one could be diverse is actually not something just about being fair. It's not just about social justice. It's not just about the ethics. It's also the corporate performance. So the former studies nicely demonstrated that the companies which are having more inclusive cultures are twice as likely to achieve financial goals, are 3 times more likely to be high performers, are 6 times more likely to be more innovative and more agile, which are the 2 maybe critical enablers of digital age, digital DNA, as we're talking about digital age. And 8 times more likely to achieve better business outcomes. So the C-suite is also well aware of the case. And when we ask the CEOs, 96% of them say that diversity, equity, and inclusion are of top strategic priority to their company. And the other aspect could be maybe the, let's say, personal traits of women and the alignment of that traits with the necessities of the digital age, a common behavior. So when we look at the traditional patterns, we see that the societal expectations of leadership, like being assertive and being self-reliant, don't seem to be in alliance with the other expectations from the gender behavior. Like if you're a woman leader of, let's say, stereotypically masculine managerial style, you tend to be perceived as less warm. So interestingly, women are expected to be both sensitive and strong in order to be able to perceive as effective leaders, whereas men are just needing to exhibit strength only. So apart from all those traditional patterns, when we look at the objective research data, we're observing that there are no significant differences between genders in terms of the critical traits of leadership, like intelligence, honesty, and decisiveness. And moreover, women tend to be more willing to take risks, more persuasive, and more assertive. And when we look at the other areas like emotional intelligence, like interpersonal skills, in most of the cases, women leaders are outperforming their male colleagues in being flexible, in being sociable, in being empathetic. So it's just the objective, they say, research data. And based on all those, I'd like to once more highlight that the lack of role models, women role models, and women mentors are the most critical barriers women leaders face in the working environment. And as more women, just like Vera is a great self-example of those, are represented in upper levels of management, they will be also becoming permanent leaders for the next generations. And one study found that compared to women without sponsors, the women having sponsors in the working environment tend to be 70% more likely to get their ideas endorsed and 200% more likely to see their ideas implemented.
Okay. Özlem, I took all the notes with me. Actually, it gives a very good hint for me to have the closing remarks accordingly. Thank you so much. So, Vera, what do you think about this issue?
Yeah, there's a lot said already by Çağda and Özlem, and I just wanted to put maybe one different perspective into it. I think women, from what I see the last 30 years, a lot of women did a lot to catch up in typical male university studies. There's in Greece, maybe not enough, but at least I think we did a lot. I think it's not only about the women. The women are and I think what definitely has changed, there is a much better support women of women. And this is key essential. I think, all of us have to think first, is there any kind of female a person for a position to fill in, for a panel, for whatever. So I think this gives a good traction into this. But without having supporting men, and just engaging actively in supporting women to get alongside this this path going forward. And I think, sometimes I'm just thinking myself, when I listen to Özlem's facts, it's so obvious. And men are normally so much impacted by figures. Why they don't just, and there seems to be something else. So there's kind of, maybe there's more we have to do to engage with male people, to include them in these kind of discussions and convince them by the facts, and just go there. And I think, without having a lot more, and there is already a few, but there can be so much more, especially in C-level, who openly, publicly speak about supporting diversity, which is not only gender, but it is gender for the moment. And at this day, Monday the 8th, it is about female. I think we need more. And I speak really, I encourage every man to be brave and just stand there and do the right things. Because if this is absolutely getting normal, the digital way is only the way to function. Because if not, it's just a transformation from the analog behavior to the digital behavior.
I like this analog behavior to digital behavior part, because from my point of view, I don't know whether I shared this or not. I have a son, and when I look at the men, I have totally a different perspective after having a son, and they are totally analog, Vera. Yeah. They are totally analog. Yeah, it is incredible. I have to tell this, because it is not easy to talk about your child in that way. But this is the nature of the man. So that's why digital life is, if there is any transformation, of course, the female contribution would be the key for that transformation, because of having this multitasking type of mind setting and our skills on that area by our nature. So thank you so much. İlkay, what do you think about that?
Thank you. It's been very inspirational to hear all of you, and I think it's the difficulty of being lost on a panel of full of women who knows what they're talking about. with facts and figures and emotions. It's all there. So what I'm going to add is basically, I just want to take the discussion from the gender lens away, because it's at the end of the day, it's the skills that we should be talking about. The required skill sets, if it's man or woman, doesn't really matter. Whoever has the right skills, whoever has the right leadership skills, should be adequate for the role, and the selection basis for any role should be on that basis, rather than differentiating people on a gender basis. And I think it's becoming more important in a time. Again, I will refer to again digitalization and the way of we do business now and future of work, because these discussions are taking place a lot when we're all working from home. And we're using, digitalization more and more in terms of how we do business. I think there's one concept that is becoming more important, and I can support that with a recent research done on future skill sets required at workplace, which actually replaces empathy with compassion now. And that talks about for any leader, not just for women or for men. So compassion is different from empathy, in a sense that, when you empathize with something or someone, you understand what the other person is going through. But when you have compassion, you basically try to help that person to overcome that situation. And this is a leadership skill that we need for future, especially in the digitalization area, when we cannot touch people, when we cannot really communicate in the way we want with people. Everything is really, around the black screen that we're looking into, and we're trying to make a difference from that screen. And that's why, compassion is becoming more and more important. And I think woman by nature has that ability. And I think, again, I will say, I see women in a more advantageous position in this changing environment, where they can use their compassion to create difference in the workplace, and to become better leaders for themselves, for their environment, and for the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So we're just on time, and I have a couple of minutes to put my closing remarks, and I would like to give you last final remark question to all of you. But what I heard for closing this part, I heard that we are all expected to be sensitive and strong.